well, obviously. There is Ed, who is on Scrubs.
Yep.
There is Lester on Chuck, who's hysterical.
Yeah.
What is the problem? Do you see any problem with all of what I just said?
I see the most of the problem is if you just said the names Principal Figgins, Ed, and Lester, you would think, some balding white guy could play all three of those roles.
Tom Haverford on Parks and Recreation. Yep. Who is he played by? Aziz Ansari.
Exactly.
Can you honestly tell me that there is no scope for slightly Americanized Indian names or South Asian names for any of these characters?
And why is it that these characters, when they take this role, accept the fact that, oh yeah, I'll just completely be Americanized, completely just become white on the
I mean, Aziz Ansari, who played Scrubs, Ed, on Scrubs initially. Are you telling me that in a show that is about doctors and a hospital, Indians in doctors,
that is our
anyone,
exactly.
They couldn't have come out with a name like, I don't know,
Raj,
Vikas, anything?
Vikas.
Just something that is easily accessible.
Yeah.
Because this is how you become part of culture. This is how you acclimatize.
And this is how we're going to have to start to get into the mainstream. If we just keep playing these roles where we're that stereotypical Indian, but we, take the American name, we're always going to get there.
Neil, Sonia, we both have friends named Neil. More importantly, I don't want anyone thinking that Lester is a normal Indian American name. It's not.
Yes, exactly.
It's not.
Exactly.
I think this needs to change because Principal Figgins even speaks with an Indian accent on the show.
That makes no sense to me.
No.
Well, speaking of Indians being assimilated into American society, USC, as we all know, the school out west with the Trojans and all that, they have a class called America 101. And it's a class for mostly master's degree candidates and graduate students that are of Indian and Chinese descent, which, by the way, USC has the highest foreign Asian population out of any school in the country, and percent. So they have a class called America 101. And in this class, you're essentially going to learn all the things you need to know about America. So, why do we celebrate Christmas? What's the expression, hit the ball out of the park? When to call 911? When you sit on a bus with someone, where do you sit? Things like that. Don't you kind of wish that our parents had this, or people before had this?
And I think we've sort of been the de facto professors. I know when I started covering baseball, I had to explain to my mom what it meant to round the bases. And
every time we watch the Redskins, my mom says, "Did they score a touchdown?"
Exactly. It's like, well, Mom, there are different things. They can score field goals.
And it's not just
sports.
And
I should say, now my mom knows everything. So kudos to her for learning. But here is a great opportunity that USC saw the need and is fulfilling this need to assimilate their students. I think that's great.
And I also kind of would say that Indians as a culture, I think we should look at this class and say, maybe we should broaden this just out of USC. Maybe we should have this in our cultural community centers or anything. This ICC that started this ping pong facility, maybe they should have a class called America 101.
I think it could
because when you live in a country and you are sort of as high income and high profile as Indians have become over the last 10 years, 15 years, we have to Americanize ourselves to a certain degree.
We'll say, though, that this USC class is obviously going to do these students a huge disservice by not filling them in that the stereotype that USC football is great is, in fact,
false. Well, finally today, we have some shout-outs we'd like to make and some pieces we'd like to inform you on.
For the fashion lovers out there, we've talked about Rachel Roy in the past, who is an up-and-coming Indian-American designer. We have another one, Prabal Gurung, who is actually born and raised in Southeast Asia. He was born in Singapore, grew up in Nepal, and spent an extended amount of time in Delhi, and that's where he went to school.
The Delhi Fashion Institute of Technology.
Exactly. Right. And Prabal has now has made such a name for himself in the New York fashion scene. I should say I know him. He's a great guy. Prabal came to study at Parsons, and from there,
by the way, for all our viewers
institute.
Who have no idea what that is, it's like the Harvard of Fashion Institute.
Absolutely, it's very well regarded, and he got an internship with DKNY with Donna Karan while he was in school. From there, he vaulted to Bill Blass and was at one point the design director there, which is a big deal.
He's very young.
He is, in his early 30s, and he is just an amazing force. I think it's incredible that someone who, Rachel Roy grew up in America, but Prabal grew up in India. And for him to come in and become the design head of a major American knit sportswear company is incredible.
Pretty incredible.
And he's just branched out now. He's got his own line. He just launched it, and he's doing really great. And I'm really proud of him. He's designed for Demi Moore. He's designed for Eva Mendes. He's doing a really great job.
And he's definitely up and coming.
He's a really great guy, too. So I'm really excited for him.
That's for all our fashion lovers. For all our music lovers out there, there's a growing movement, and it's mostly viral, of the sort of Muslim Hindu punk rock band movement. And there have been a couple articles about this, and it highlights about around the country there's about 30 or 40 Muslim Hindu punk rock band groups. And they talk about things such as life in America, women's rights, homosexuality, Islam, East versus West culture clashes. They take Bollywood songs and make them into rock versions. They make their own rock songs. And they're really gaining some momentum. They're starting to do concerts. There's actually a Washington, D.C. based band called Sada Must. And they're actually pretty popular. So there's a Hindu and Muslim mix. They're trying to sort of speak out against what their culture used to be and what it is now, and it's really interesting to see.
And it's really great that they're turning to, music as a way to express themselves. Exactly. Another musically inclined note we have is that Tina Vadua, who is a recent graduate of Columbia University, was awarded a Fulbright/MTV U scholarship. These scholarships were established in 2007, and they're meant to promote the power of music in the emerging sort of global world. And what she's going to do with the scholarship now, this grant, is to go into Mumbai and to talk to the children and see the impact that Bollywood music, the movies we talked about, the impact they might have on us.
Clearly, Bollywood is having an impact everywhere around the world.
But what is the impact in India? And so she wants to do a documentary on what the impact that Bollywood music has had on the youth in Mumbai. And she's also going to be supporting a local music conservatory there to bring music to the local children. So I think this is a really great way that she's using the American resources that she's got to sort of promote music, which is such a big part of Indian culture.
Thank you for tuning in to watch Morning Blend. We really appreciate you joining us today.
Please send us your comments and suggestions to darshan@darshantv.com.
See you next time and have a smooth weekend.